open? Hold on a second. Hold on. Whew. Man, I'm in the middle of this crazy project. This is probably the wackiest thing I've done yet with Slambo. An Aero nose. A DIY Aero nose. I'm not going to call it custom. That's going a little bit too far. But it's definitely DIY. You know, you can look in the catalogs and online and you can find all the Aero kits you want. But I'll tell you what, very few are actually aerodynamic. Specifically for the Honda Civic, which is the recipient of perhaps the most hideous Aero kits ever designed. And design is a pretty liberal term. When it came time for me to make this little guy look different, there was no way that I was going to go with a store-bought kit. So I decided to do it myself. I used to play around with Bondo and Fiberglass when I was a kid, and I've forgotten way more than I ever knew, and I didn't know much. So this episode is a little behind the scenes look at how I made the original bumper look like this, with just some duct tape, some agricultural plastic, some fiberglass resin, some fiberglass cloth, and a whole bunch of Bondo.
My foray into aerodynamic stupidity started with a brutal chin spoiler that I fashioned from agricultural plastic and pop riveted to the stock bumper. I ripped that off after about 6 months and stuck on a $31 lip that I bought on Amazon. But the cheap lip looked too common. I just wasn't keen on the fog lamp divots, and there was just too much air hitting the front tires. So I started experimenting with sheets of ag plastic strategically duct taped to the front bumper. I drove with various configurations over a number of months until the day when I finally manned up and broke out the fiberglass supplies. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and came up with a plan. I peeled off the combination of Elastiwrap and Plasti Dip that I'd sprayed on the front bumper. Then I removed all the old duct tape and I retaped all the plastic panels to tighten things up. Then I used 3M 77 spray adhesive to cover the stock front bumper and $31 lip. I applied fiberglass cloth over the adhesive, being careful to smooth it out as much as possible. Then I mixed up the resin and started brushing it on. After applying 2 layers of fiberglass cloth and resin, I sanded the bumper, applied 2 coats of resin as a top coat, and sanded again. There's a whole lot of sanding when you do this stuff, let me tell you. It's super important to wear a mask and goggles when sanding fiberglass. You'll do well to wear long sleeves and long pants as well. Fiberglass can be nasty stuff when it gets in the wrong places. After the sanding was complete, I hit it with rattle can primer sealer to find the flaws, and I hit that with sandpaper again before I cracked out the Bondo. I hit it with Bondo over and over and over to fill all the low spots. Now, I'll tell you, this project is about aerodynamic efficiency, not about style. My goal for this first iteration is simply smooth. There are no frills on this first go at it. If this thing progresses well, I might add a splitter to the bottom of the lip. My big dream is to test a number of DIY Aero pieces in a wind tunnel. I want to A/B test against the car in stock form. Yeah, it's a big, stupid dream, but somebody's got to be wacky enough to chase it, and it might as well be me. Let's call this an experimental prototype bumper. If this thing comes out well and people are interested, I'm going to make it nice and smooth. We'll go for the perfect. And then, hey, maybe we'll run a Kickstarter and see if people actually want to buy an Aero bumper, a real Aero bumper. I got a manufacturer lined up that'll build them for me. I just need to prove that there's actual demand for this. And with the Civic market being what it is, there's probably not demand for it, but hey, we gotta try.